Togetherness, oneness, unity. They say these three tenets are the secrets to human evolution. Also, the most effective tools for nation building. They help in preventing conflicts that can drain a country's resources or derail its societal progress. Why am I telling you this? Because India could take some big steps towards unity and uniformity. One of them could be one nation, one election. Reports say the idea is being examined by a new central committee. What is the concept of one nation, one election all about? What are its pros and cons? Who is for it? Who is against it? And does India really need it? Over the next few minutes, we discuss this and more. Hello and welcome. This is Gravitas Plus. I am Molly Gambhir. On the 31st of August, New Delhi reportedly set up a special committee under the chairmanship of India's former President Ramnath Kovind. The aim of this committee is to work on the one nation, one election policy. So what is this policy all about? Well, in simple terms, it refers to simultaneous elections in all three tiers: the Lok Sabha or the House of the People, the state assemblies or Vidhan Sabha, and local bodies. The policy suggests holding elections in all three levels in a synchronized manner, with voting presumably taking place around the same time. Is this concept new? Not really. When elections were first held in independent India, they were simultaneous in nature. Both the House of the People and the state legislative assemblies went to the polls at the same time. This happened again in 1952, 1957, 1962, and 1967. But this cycle was disrupted by a series of political changes in different states. It started with Kerala. In July 1959, the centre invoked Article 356 of the Constitution to dismiss the government of AMS Namboodiripad. And so the state went to the polls again in February 1960. As the Congress party's popularity declined, it suffered major setbacks in several states: Bihar, Uttar Pradesh, Rajasthan, Punjab, West Bengal, Odisha, Tamil Nadu, Kerala. In all these states, there were defections and counter-defections. Their governments collapsed, and this separated their poll cycle from the central one. 6 decades on, there are only 4 states that hold elections at the same time as the Lok Sabha polls: Andhra Pradesh, Odisha, Arunachal Pradesh, and Sikkim. In 1983, the Election Commission of India proposed to hold simultaneous elections. However, in its annual report, the Commission said the government decided not to do it. 16 years later, the 1999 Law Commission report also pushed for simultaneous elections. And finally, in 2014, the Bharatiya Janata Party floated the idea in its election manifesto. It said it will seek to evolve a method of holding elections simultaneously to ensure stability for the state governments. India is about to go to the polls again, and the government reportedly wants to review if all elections should be held at the same time. We are given to understand that it is reviewing the pros and cons of the move. So, what are the pros and cons? Let's find out. I'll start with the positives. Number 1, a reduction in expenditure, cutting down the costs involved in separate elections. As per reports, a whopping 60,000 crore rupees were spent in the 2019 Lok Sabha elections. And this amount includes what was spent by the political parties fighting the polls, also the spending by the Election Commission of India. The argument is, if elections are held at the same time, political parties and legislative bodies will end up spending less. Benefit number 2. Simultaneous elections will ease the burden on the administrative and security forces. They are, after all, engaged multiple times in election duties throughout the year. Number 3, with the implementation of simultaneous elections, there can be more focus on governance rather than being in election mode all the time. Benefit number 4, Simultaneous elections could also increase the voter turnout. It will be more convenient for people to cast multiple ballots at once. Number 5, simultaneous elections will also help ensure continuity in policies and programs, and this will help both the central and the state governments. You see, as of now, the Model Code of Conduct is imposed whenever elections are set to take place. And this puts a ban on the launch of new projects for public welfare for that period. And simultaneous elections could change this. And then we come to the negatives. To start with, there is a worry that during simultaneous elections, regional issues might get overshadowed by national issues. And this could affect the electoral outcome at the state level. Number 2, regional political parties would be unable to compete with national parties when it comes to election expenditure and election strategy. Number 3, a study conducted by the IDFC Institute in 2015 found that there is a 77% chance that voters will choose the same winning political party or alliance if elections were held simultaneously. However, if elections are held 6 months apart, only 61% of the voters would choose the same party. Fourth, to implement one nation, one election, changes would also be required in the Constitution and other legal frameworks. There will have to be a constitutional amendment, which would then be taken to the state assemblies. This would be time-consuming and could get hijacked by political interests. As the country debates these pros and cons, it would also help to look at some international models. Countries around the world that already have simultaneous elections. And the names of 2 countries stand out here, Sweden and South Africa. They have successfully implemented concurrent electoral cycles. Sweden, in fact, is a prime example of harmonized elections. It holds county and municipal elections seamlessly with the general elections. This happens every 4 years. The electoral system employs proportional representation, meaning that the parties secure seats in proportion to their vote share. And just like Sweden, South Africa also employs a synchronized election system. National Assembly, the Municipal Council, and the provincial legislative elections. The seats are allocated based on the vote percentage of the parties. And besides these, there's Belgium, the Philippines, Costa Rica, Bolivia, Guatemala. They have all embraced simultaneous elections within their political systems. Can India do this as well? Yes, it can, but it will require consensus. The opposition is already wary of one nation, one election. It claims the policy will enable national leaders to overshadow regional personalities. But by saying so, the opposition is undermining the voter. Because in a democracy, and especially in the world's largest and most diverse democracy, it is the voter who holds the power to shape the future of the electoral landscape.